Welcome, everybody, to another episode of XPlicit Materia, the podcast where a nerdy drummer talks to his friends, old and new. And today, I have Brian Blackmore with us. And for those who aren't aware, you may find him familiar from the skits of the executive walking in the room and saying, hey, we need this song for this rainbow show, but the song doesn't need to be an actual rainbow. And then goes into it, and it's just so hilarious. I'm so happy to have you on the podcast. Thank you so much for doing this, man.
I'm happy to be here. I'm excited to talk to you. I saw a couple of the drum covers that you did were really cool, really excellent, and I'm psyched to be here.
I appreciate it. Yeah, for those who aren't aware, Brian Blackmore is a fantastic producer and DJ. He is killing it at the mashup game. Let me tell you.
Thanks.
Like, dude, like I'm like the Bloody Tears plus Backstreet Boys. I was like, seriously, like how has no one thought of this? It's
I don't act like I know how my brain works 100% of the time, because I really like sometimes like I'm someone who has always loved music, and anytime you see me, chances are I'm singing or something just to myself, or I love music, and I have always connected with just pop music and the whole music world in general. So sometimes things will come into my head that I think a lot of musicians will be like, oh, that's the same melody, or that's the same chord progression, or that's the same
yeah.
So for me, I think the interesting thing is that I know a lot of like gaming music too. I've done the manager videos for all the Castlevanias and all the the Mega Man and everything. I still do Spark Mandrill all the time for Mega Man, which is a very fan favorite, I guess.
Dude, same. I
never like. It's funny, as a kid, like I had a Sega Genesis, so I never really got into like the Mega Man thing. I played Sonic, and I played like NBA Jam, which I had the pleasure of meeting the announcer the other day.
I saw that video. I'm like, wait, oh my gosh, he's right there.
Yeah. Tim, like, he's a great guy, and he was super open to doing like a video that was just so dumb. He had an NBA. There's an NBA Jam cabinet there. I'm like, dude, we have to do this. Like,
you have to.
You're like, and he did it. He still sounds the same. He's amazing. But yeah, I never got into Mega Man. So everyone's like, do Mega Man. I'm like, I don't have the connection that they do with the songs. Not that they're not bangers, but like, I will at some point. I just have to be excited to do the thing, like
totally get it. Totally understand. There is definitely a difference, because I have a live stream that I play requests all the time, and it's a great way for me to like be introduced to new music of games that I never played as a kid, or I never really got into. But it's different than like falling in love with the song and then just playing it because you're purely passionate about it.
Yes. Yeah. You're excited when you come up with something. I mean, you're a drummer. Like, you're excited when you come up with something that is something that you like, right? Yeah. Like you're working a new song, you're working a new, you're working out the drums for whatever, and you enjoy that. But if someone told you like, okay, here you go, practice all these rudiments, you're gonna be like, all right, drumming sucks. Like, I don't like this, like, dude. So here, practice your pat of fla fla and your flam taps and all that kind of stuff.
I took lessons for 1 year. This is before YouTube, by the way, everyone. Yep. Okay, before YouTube, where you could just learn anything, everywhere, anytime. You actually had to go sit in a small office area with another gentleman who was twice your age, who knew everything about music, telling you how much you suck. And you actually had to learn from this gentleman. And so I took lessons for like 1 year, and he's a super jazz player, like knew everything. It was just incredible. And he, tried to make me learn how to read and write music and drums, of course. And like, I learned it for like a month, and I kept it for a little bit, but then I dropped it immediately after I stopped taking lessons. Like, I It's not what I'm passionate about. I want to bang on shit. That's what I want to do.
That's what you want to do, right? Like
I grew up with Lars Ulrich and Dave Grohl and Travis Barker. Travis probably can read music because he came from marching band. But, like when he's playing freaking, when he's playing punk music, there's no sheet music.
Yeah. I was in marching band too, but I still can't read music. I read Dave Grohl's book, and Dave Grohl goes like into detail about how he just banged on pillows with like, the backs of spoons as a kid. Like he wasn't classically trained in anything. And I think that you're going to have the two camps in the music world always, is that like, well, you need to be classically trained because you need to know where things fit in where, and the technicality aspect is going to benefit you in your music career. And then the other side of music is like, break the rules and who cares?
Yeah, well, I totally agree. Well, and I mean, I can see there's benefit to, I see that point, but it's like, if you're not passionate about it, about like reading and transcribing and doing all that stuff, then you're not going to retain the information. It's just not how humans work.
Yep.
Humans only retain the information that they feel is going to be useful to them down the line. You
can't jam theory down someone's throat. Like I took guitar lessons for 2 years. It's funny because the people who were giving guitar lessons back then, you looked at them, you're like, whoa, this dude like plays out. Like this dude is like in a band, and like, I want to play out one day. I want to get on a stage. And then like you look back at it now and you're like, oh damn, that dude was me. Like it's just me. He's every musician I know. You know what I'm saying?
It's like some especially when you're young, like I get, kids telling me like, oh man, you're so amazing. And I look at myself in the mirror and like, you're a piece of shit. Why do you suck so much?
That's every day. That's everybody though. I think that is such a, everyone has that voice. That's like, dude, I'm trash. I'm trash. Everything is trash. I'm so bad at everything I do. Yeah.
But so you said that, okay, so like your gaming music, were you always inspired musically by video games when you like sat down and played guitar or whatever?
I just connect with sound in a different way. I think I am an ADHD person. I have always been that way since I was a kid. And for some reason, audio for me has always been the thing that like I would hyperfixate on, and music really just kind of always makes me feel something no matter what I'm listening to. There's a connection that I feel I have with it. And like the gaming music, any kind of music, I would either be humming or singing or whatever. Just I feel like I connect with certain melodies. Everyone does, like melodies that stick with you. But the gaming music, I had always played a lot of games, and the music was something that you hear a lot when you're playing games. You don't actually realize how much you listen to certain tracks. Like, every time you turn on GoldenEye or every time you turn on a game as a kid, those melodies were pounded into your head. They were pounded into your head, and you don't even think about it until now. People are like, oh my God, like I know this whole song and I don't know why. I know the whole, Escape the City, Sonic Underground. I don't know, like,
Yeah, and I would argue too that I feel like gaming music tells a story, at the very least, so much more uniquely than regular, pop music or rock music. Like they tell stories, true, but there's something about like listening to, like, say, the opera track from Final Fantasy VI, or pick a track from Sonic the Hedgehog 2 or 1, those speak to you on such a different level than any
like
any
One-Winged Angel, like all that kind of stuff is like the Sephiroth theme. I see you've got the Buster Sword back there.
I do, yes. My best friend bought it for me while we were in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and Gatlinburg is sort of like a resort, not a resort town. It's like there's just a place where all these different shops and there's a bunch of little rides, and it's a small town, but it's like really kitschy in that kind of way. And they're like have you ever been to Gatlinburg?
No, I've never been.
I was like, I'd be surprised if you did, because people only like go there if they're living in Tennessee, because it's like a small, cute little area that you can rent a cabin and everything. Anyway,
we have stuff around here that's very similar, like touristy, tiny areas.
Yeah, and like every 5 steps is a weapon shop. Like there's like 17 weapon shops down the street.
Dude, what is it with like tourist locations and like just knife shops? Like, you ever been down to Myrtle Beach?
No, I haven't.
Every other store is like knives, nunchucks, swords, like blowguns. Like, who's going on vacation, and it's like, dude, you know what I need is a knife. I gotta really get one.
Do you think this will pass TSA? Do you think
this is a souvenir? Yeah, like I guess people love knives as souvenirs. That's probably.
I mean, to be fair, if I do see a weapon shop, I'm in there.
Me too. I can't lie. I have a lot of knives. anything that's cool, like, oh, butterfly knife. I actually, as a kid, I got a butterfly knife from Myrtle Beach at one point, and I was at a friend's house, and I was playing with it, and I cut open like my whole thumb.
Oh, I could have seen where that story was
and
going.
That was, like that. That's exactly why your parents say, stop playing with knives, and no, we're not going to buy you.
Well, now you know. See, now you know. Yep. But yeah, I used to have one that wasn't like a real knife, but it was like, there was something really cool. I think too is like 80s and early 90s movies had gang members that always had like
the butterfly knife, and they'd do the cool flip, and you'd be like, well, that's intimidating.
Thriller.
That is cool.
I think Thriller. Didn't the guy in Thriller have one? Just like
the guys in like Streets of Rage, like that's another franchise that has great music.
Final Fight,
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's really just, I've always loved video games. I've always loved music, and those two, it's kind of connected in an odd way on TikTok. TikTok is a weird place anyways.
I was actually gonna bring that up. Like, so like, when did you first get success, like, getting all this traction immediately when you got into TikTok, or did you try like a whole bunch of other stuff and it just
I have been creating content consistently, like making videos, recording music, playing out, performing, probably since I was 15, 16. As a kid, I kind of just knew what I wanted to do. So I wasn't great in school. I was just like, I know what I want to do. I want to perform. I want to entertain. I want to be in the spotlight. I want to be the center of attention. And that is obviously not great in school, because that'll get you pulled out of class real quick, which
unless you got a really cool teacher.
I was never a bad kid. I was just the kid who was like, math is boring. Watch this. Like,
the class clown.
Yeah. So that was always kind of like the whole thing with that. Yeah.
But like, so you've been doing, so how long have you been, so like you've been creating music, video game stuff, like producing music and whatnot.
Yes.
And then you get on TikTok. And the reason why I'm asking about TikTok is because I've only got engagement since I got on TikTok. Like, now, and it's transferred somewhat to my YouTube. And
TikTok is an interesting, it's an interesting place. You can blow up overnight. You can immediately like go from having no one watch to thousands, hundreds of thousands of people very quickly with the right video. I think that TikTok back, in 2020. So I was actually on TikTok before it was TikTok. I was on Musical.ly. So Musical.ly, music.ly was TikTok before TikTok.
I've never known that. I
didn't know that. So the
idea.
app actually used to have a Musical.ly app, and it was specifically for karaoke. So you had this Musical.ly app, and that's all people would do, is they would sing over songs on it, and you would just sing a song and post that, and that's all it was for. And eventually the app icon changed into TikTok. They just like rebranded it, like redid the whole thing, and it became TikTok. And I was on there prior. There are videos of me with the Musical.ly tag on them.
Man.
So I was on there for a long time, just making content and making videos. I have always been, that's where I was going before I was talking about being a class clown. So he told you ADHD, dude. It's just like, it'll just derail you.
I get it.
So I was on there making videos, and I always downloaded anything that I thought would be the new social media, would be the new trend, would be the new hit. Still to this day, I'm like, what's the new thing coming out? Like, let me get on that before it blows up, because the creators who ride the wave of things before they blow up are usually the ones who float to the top of those places.
Yeah.
A lot of the times these people have accounts that are a little bit older. So I had always made videos. I was on Vine when Vine was a thing. I have a huge history of YouTube videos from when I was making YouTube videos, and I still make those every once in a while.
I really like your
TikTok-
Thunder in Paradise video, by the way.
Yeah, dude, that was
Dude, when you brought back
That's
the
a game.
full motion video, I was like, damn, man.
MV
Sega
videos,
fucking CD. Like, I remember I was the only kid that had a Sega CD in my little group of friends back in the
Yep.
day.
I still have mine. I have the one connected to the Genesis.
Yes.
Like it's
Yes.
yep.
The side, yeah, connects to the side and whatever.
I played this game, Sewer Shark. I actually have a copy on.
Dude.
I still have a copy over there.
I still have nightmares about that. I could never get past the first level.
Level. Why would you make a game this hard for kids? Like, adults aren't playing this thing. I always remember the little like robot catfish to whole hog. We got it. Like, I should probably do a video on that because that I have a lot of
conspiracy theory. They actually never finished the game. It's actually impossible. You can't. You can't get to level 2, 3, and 4, 5.
Sunset City, Sunshine City, something like that. You had to make it to. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, something like that. Whatever. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It never made it. So don't feel bad.
That's probably true. You're probably right. I'm gonna agree there because it's not one of the things that you can. Maybe someone's got to play through online now, but it's not a game that is easy to beat or is even. I never knew what the hell I was doing because it was just like turn left, turn right, turn left, turn right,
down,
and then
up,
down, up. Explode the rats. You gotta get the rat. You gotta shoot the rats. It was so bad. Those games were.
I'm sorry. I veered us. See, I ADT. I got ADHD too. So we were talking about TikTok and this, in your sort of rise and your pathway to where you are now. So you've been doing. Sorry.
Yeah. It's pretty much. No, go ahead. It was pretty much like at the beginning of 2020, I started to make TikToks consistently. And I've always made content just based on how I feel because, it makes me excited to make something that I have up here and I want to make it real, Yeah. So I get excited to like, oh, I'm going to make that thing, whatever pops in my head. There's no niche, you know what I'm saying? There's no so for a long time, I just made random videos and you can scroll down my TikTok and see the old videos that are just completely random, probably horrible. But I was just kind of trying to learn the platform and try to see what works. The thing with the manager character is that I did this creepy crawlers video that was just me walking into a door. I was wearing a scarf and I said to someone in a chair, hey, we need the creepy crawlers theme. Have you been working on that creepy crawlers theme? And the guy's like, yeah, definitely. Creepy crawlers. And then he's like, that's perfect. It's so good.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's the best. And that's kind of like, I think that's kind of what started the whole thing. Around the same time, Max, Big Time Macca, who is another guy, did like the GoldenEye video. He did the GoldenEye video of him walking in. And, TikTok is based on trends. Like it's based on doing trends. Like, how many videos do you see of exactly the same thing over and over again?
Right.
So I started I started doing these like gaming videos and the biggest one was the Sonic drowning sound that like exploded. And then from there, people were like, this is the guy who does the video. Like, this is the guy who does all the videos. And I think the combination of the manager character, because eventually I switched it over to a suit, the combination of having all of the instruments and being a musician and having, performed for most of my life, really all just connected right there. People were like, the facial expressions that you make, the way that you move around the instruments.
You kill it because it's not just the idea too. You have to execute it. You know, and it's like you're just, it's hilarious because you know your physical comedy, the actual, you know, the things that you're saying is like comedic and funny and like, and what's great about it too about skits like that is like the best content is the content where you go, how this is such a simple idea. How have I not thought about this? This is so freaking funny. And then your content is exactly like that. Like
I love it. You know, who doesn't love playing air guitar and who like all that kind of stuff. So this gave me a chance to like show off my music collection, like, you know, bust out the guitars and really some of the songs I will play to a decent amount. Like, you know, like because you have to make it look good for the camera. So like I will learn the songs to like a decent enough amount. No way is it like good enough to go on a stage and play. But like I'll learn some of them to a decent amount, and then other one like the drums, you can't fake drums, right? You can't really fake a drum fill.
I mean, if I'm watching like a movie and there's a drummer playing whatever, me as a drummer will look at him like, oh, he's really playing that, or you know, or at least he's trying to play it exactly where the drums are supposed to land or whatever. And there's times where it's super obvious. I'm like, you're playing a crash there? That's not a crash. That's a ride cymbal. Completely different sounds and blah blah blah.
So but like the drums are always. I have a great time recording the drums. So the drums are most like 90% of the time, like I'm learning the drums.
So I appreciate as a drummer, I appreciate that you're putting the time to do that because a lot of times, and it's fine because like the lay person that, you know, has never picked up a pair of sticks would look at, you know, guy waving his arms and it's just like, that's drums. Funny. You know, that's drums. Oh, that's Animal. He's funny, you know.
I think the other piece was the editing. I think that the other big piece of it was, you know, I've been editing for forever. Like for as long as I can remember, I was on Windows Movie Maker when we got our first computer. So like I've been editing for a long time. And all of those videos are shot just me. There's no one else in the room. It's just me. There's no one holding the camera. There's not like it's just a tripod. And then I will punch in or punch out. I'll, you know, make camera movements based on how I feel when I'm editing. But it's all really giving away how the sausage is made here. But it's all really like, it's just me, and I have a blast recording it. Everyone always asks this, so I might as well just say it. They take 4 to 5 hours to shoot. Like they take. It takes a while.
Editing takes time and effort. Like,
I got to switch the costumes every time. To switch the costumes, I'm like, oh, where's this guy
alone? Yeah,
where's this guy standing in the room? What is this guy doing? Okay, he's against this wall, and then this guy's because you know I can't use the same background for two people too. So like I just go clockwise around the room, kind of, and just like
those little details, man. Those little details that you get in there. Like
I have just as much fun. I think I have just as much fun as the people. Like I am a fan of all this music first. I'm a fan of all this music. I love like all the gaming music and any other of the songs I've done. Like I truly love to perform those, and it just kind of I think really showed through TikTok, and that's kind of I did a year of those. I did like a year of those manager videos.
Yeah,
every single day.
So on your DJ stuff, like, do you go and play out and you know with material?
Yeah. So right now I'm working on booking specifically like Brian Blackmore events. The response to like the DJ stuff that I posted has been overwhelmingly positive. People really like the production. They really like the odd mashups. And so I just showed up on Spotify yesterday, took a couple hoops to get this up there, but my Aquatic Ruin Zone remix is on Spotify.
I listened to that earlier today. It's a freaking sick ass trap remix. Like it's like amazing.
I like the glitchy kind of like synthy stuff too, you know, like it's stuff that
also the NASCAR 2077 one is a hot fire jam, let me tell you, because it's super, you know, synth wavy race car song. Like,
you know what? So I was working on that with a DJ who goes by the name of Guantanamo Bay.
Awesome DJ name.
Great guy. Yeah, Bay, Bae. And he
does he get waterboarded as he plays?
Yes, yeah. He's actually I think he is an ex-soldier. I think that's what he like. He is an ex-military guy. And he sent me over that track that was just a very unfleshed out track. And he was like, I'd love to work on this with you. If you want to, if you want to throw some stuff on it. And I kind of immediately like busted out the guitar. I was like, this will be weird. And that all that guitar solo and everything, that's all me on there.
Awesome.
It's, I love production and I love trying new stuff. I love trying weird stuff. Synthwave, like bands like The Midnight and bands like Time Cop and FM 84, like I love that music so much. So to be able to make like a really cool synthwave track, and then I'm like, what's like 80s? Like, what would you hear? Like a radio? I'm like, so many people have done a radio. I'm like, yo, what about like an old NASCAR? Like an old NASCAR like announcer.
Was that an old 80s NASCAR announcer?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. I was wondering like where is okay. Wow, that's awesome.
It is. Yep. It was like a NASCAR announcer sample in there, and then just a bunch of really like kind of vibey, cool synth. Yeah, that was a good one. Yep. People still love that one. I don't know. It's big in Brazil.
Is that wow?
I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know how. But like when I look at the Spotify analytics, it's like Brazil is your most. It's where your audience is.
All right, you need to
let's go.
You need to head out to
Brazil. Yeah,
you need to head out to Brazil, my man.
Yep. Maybe they love synthwave in Brazil. They love.
So how long have you been? Doing the DJ thing? Like, so when you're performing, it's just your DJ stuff. Like, how long have you been like doing that?
I've probably been DJing. I would probably say 12, 13 years.
Oh wow,
it's been a long time. So right out of high school, like I didn't go to college. I toured with a band. I've actually played Warped Tour. I've been on Warped Tour twice.
Hey, same me.
So that was fun. Let's go. And after doing that, like you realize, there's not a whole lot of money in music.
Nope.
There's not a whole lot of like, if you're touring with a band, if you're hanging out with like a group of guys, it is all for the experience. It's all and I wouldn't trade it for the world. Like I wouldn't have gone to school over that, because the experience that I got out on the road was really huge for me. So what
was the band's name?
2 O'Clock Courage.
2 O'Clock Courage.
It was like a pop punk East Coast.
What year did you play Warped?
2010, 11.
Oh, okay. So all right. Yeah, I was 2 years after you. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Did you play guitar?
Bass.
All right. Right on.
Bass. Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, Warped Tour is a crazy tour, man.
Dude, when you get on Warped Tour.
Did you take a bus or did you do the van?
We did the van.
Oh my God.
We only played a couple dates. We weren't
okay.
we weren't the whole tour. We didn't do. We did like the East Coast.
But still doing it. Still doing that tour in a van, even if it's only
New York, Long Island. Like those were big. Those were big shows. So
it was like still doing that tour in a van, because you have to play every day.
Mm-hmm.
You have to play, get your shit, put it in the van or whatever, and then travel to the next town.
Who did you play with?
I was in a band called Five Knives. We were signed to Red Bull Records, and we were lucky enough. Yeah, we were lucky enough to actually get a bus and do that. We did the full tour, full 2013 tour. Got to meet a lot of really cool people doing that whole thing. And like, I was lucky enough to be in a bus, and I give full kudos to all the bands who did the entire tour in either a van or a Sprinter. That shit is grueling in a bus.
We were in a conversion van.
like
with a trailer on the back, a shitty trailer, the trashiest trailer.
Much respect, my friend. Much respect.
Dude, like when you play Warped Tour, you're like, oh my God, I've made it. Like you're like, oh, I made it. I'm on Warped Tour. You're seeing, like, you're going to those barbecues, you're seeing Kevin Lyman, you're seeing all the, I was hanging out with All Time Low and Jeffree Star and Blood on the Dance Floor and all those guys. And this was, early 2000s. You're like, oh, dude, I made it. Like,
it's like band camp. Like it literally
really is.
You're stuck there. You're stuck at the location until it's time to pack up and move.
Yeah, you can't go anywhere.
Can't experience the town that you're in other than what
I remember going to the Burger King with what's like one of the guys from 303, and like we went to get Burger King, and I was like, this is the crazy, like, what? Why am I here right now?
I'm eating a Big Mac, not Big Mac, or a Whopper. I'm eating a Whopper with freaking 303 right now. This is insane.
Yeah, it was a weird time. It was a weird time. But after that, I realized, like, okay, I need to actually do something that makes money. And DJing, I could go and do birthday parties and weddings and all that kind of stuff and get a quick $200, you know, and just have it for myself and not have to split it with anybody. And I was like, oh, this is how I can make some money and still do stuff with music.
Yeah.
Obviously got into production and all that. Like I've loved to produce music forever. I used to produce a lot of rap music under the name White Kid Spits Fire, which is like
a bit on the nose, bit on the nose, comedy, but I appreciate it.
It's like comedy rap. It was bad, dude. It was bad. But you know, as you're trying to find yourself and you're trying to find what you want to do, don't be embarrassed. Just go for it. Just go for it. Yeah. Embrace the cringe. You know what I'm saying? Like
embrace the cringe.
Embrace the cringe, because no one knows anything. You know what I'm saying? No one knows anything. Try and if you have an idea, throw it out there. That's kind of my thought process.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I mean, because you don't know. You don't know if you don't try. You know, but
that's what I've always done. Always just kind of, you know, and that's what I'm doing now with the DJ stuff. I'm like, I want to do this. And I do it.
And you're you know, you're like objectively getting traction from just your mashups in general. Like I eventually want to get to a point where I want to take, you know, my live stream out to, you know, to like a show where it's sort of like a DJ set, but I'm playing drums over it.
Yeah.
But I'm not quite there yet, but like eventually, like, you know, I've been waiting for someone to bring like this video game music into like more of a popular space. Like I know video games are like a popular art form. I get that. The most popular art form, right? But like, you know, the music specifically is still very, very niche. And I don't want it to be that way anymore. Because like this music kicks fucking ass. And the people need to know it. And
I'm amazed that we haven't gotten like a mainstream top 40 pop song that is also a like video game music. I mean, you do have now, there's so much in terms of music. Like you do have genres that are specifically like chiptune or hyper pop, like that kind of stuff that you could put into the gaming world. But I'm amazed that we haven't gotten anything that's like, you know, Monster Cat is such a big label. Like Monster Cat does all the Epic game stuff, all the Rocket Leagues and all that kind of stuff. Like they've had a few that have done well, but I still don't think they've charted anything yet. Monster Cat, don't be mad at me if I'm
I think the closest thing we've ever had to something like that is the original Mortal Kombat tune for when the movie was coming out.
Techno Syndrome.
Yeah, Techno Syndrome came out. And I think it charted. I think it actually charted top 40 for a hot second. Because
I'm psyched for Mortal Kombat 1 too. That's going to be good.
I'm actually now just getting back into fighting games again. I just bought Street Fighter 6. I'm not so much a fighting game player. I'm more like RPG adventure, that kind of guy.
Are you going to play Starfield?
Dude, are we going to get into this controversial subject of Starfield?
We're going to play Baldur's Gate.
I actually am interested in Baldur's Gate 3. I just don't have a computer to play it. Or like, if I were to play a game like Baldur's Gate 3, I'd rather play it on a computer, because I played Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 on computer. I wanted to play 3 on the computer, but I might just pick it up on PS5 too. Yeah. All the problem is like I'm married, I got a full-time job, and I got to be very picky with the games that I play.
You're telling me, man. You're telling me. Like I don't even know if I can talk about it yet. I mean, I'm sure they won't care. So I just signed with a company to like manage my social stuff. Awesome. And just like to have a manager in this world, I think once you're at a certain level is really important. I work a 9 to 5 job. And then during that 9 to 5 job, on my lunch, whatever breaks I take, I work another full-time job that is content creation and editing. And I work those parallel every day, all of the time.
Same.
And then on top of that, booking like DJ stuff, because I own a company in Connecticut called Emo Night Connecticut. And
that's awesome.
We do emo nights in Connecticut, and we just had a huge show. We have a festival with Two Roads Brewing, which is a big brewery around here. And we just had 1,200 people come out to this fest, which is
great.
Is insane. We headline it, and it's standing in front of 1,200 people. I'm like, this is nuts. And all I do is hit play, like
hey, people
like
no
no band I've ever played in was able to sell 1,200 tickets. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The ticket thing too is like that's a sore subject, because I'm sure you had to do that. Like those ticket sales in general are a nightmare.
Yeah, just a little bit. But I mean, I never really had to deal with it because we had a manager and tour manager.
That's good.
And
yeah.
So like they dealt with that, and we just went on stage and played. And we were lucky enough to actually play with some like big name acts. So we never like headlined a tour, but we always played with like bands that had a substantial amount. So we felt like, oh, they're here to see us.
Yeah.
When we play.
Yeah, that's good. That's great. I mean, that's how bands that's how, opening is that is the way to get out. That's the way to get in front of people.
We gave it a decent shot. We played with bands like, Smashing Pumpkins, not to like, toot my own horn. It was a cool freaking moment in my life. So I'm going to fucking talk.
You might have heard of Carlos Santana. I might have, No. So do you produce? Do you produce do you produce music? Are you?
I played around with it a little bit. As you can see, I played around a little bit, but then like I've done. When the band broke up in 2016 and we were just kind of like just over and that wasn't going to work anymore, I tried to figure out what I wanted to do with like me as a drummer. And I did a few like drumming gigs here and there, which is fine and great and everything. And then I started focusing on like YouTube channel and started focusing on what I was passionate about, which was video games and music. And so I started messing around with Final Cut, making video game reviews and whatnot. And then I did one day I had this idea of like dressing up like a Titan, and Attack on Titan was just out, and like I was obsessed with the friggin' intro track to season 1. Like who wasn't? That song is incredible. So I was like, I had a producer.
Even the more recent one. What was the more recent one?
Oh, I can't remember.
The Rumbling.
Oh, the Rumbling. Yes.
Rumbling.
Dude, that song kicks ass too. But the original, when that freaking song, I had a TV producer buddy of mine who did like commercials and whatnot, and he had a green screen room, for TV, whatever. And I was like, is it cool if I just set up my drums and we shoot this really weird video drum cover of me dressed up like a Titan and played? And I played it. That was like my first or second video on YouTube, and it hit like 700, like almost 1 million views, and and it just took off. It was great. And I was like, oh, okay, I can do something with the talent that I've built over the years and focus it towards the nerd realm.
It always seems to be the stuff that works the best online, I found, is the stuff that is actually easiest for you to do. It's not always the stuff that like you have to try really hard at. I've tried really hard at plenty of videos, but the stuff that actually comes naturally to me is stuff I haven't put out there because I'm like, anyone can do this. This is boring. Like anyone can do this. So like the mashups and stuff, like I throw those together in a few hours. Just like throw together, and I'm like, to try that. And that seems to be like,
and what's crazy about content creation in general, and I'm sure you get this too, is the videos that you put in countless effort and hours into, and just like every little thing, edit, cut, damn it, replace, damn, I have to record that other thing again, freaking, and you spent like 2 days on this one fucking thing, and you post it and it doesn't do anything. And the videos that you were like, you took your phone and were like, hey, so this is fucking this thing happened and whatever. And then you just shut your phone off, send it, and it's a million views.
Yeah.
Like zero effort went into it.
That's what that was like the Sonic video. That was like the first one I did. I was just, hey, let's see if this is funny. I never really know what people want. Like at the end of the day, I can guess, I can put it out there, and I could think like, oh, this might be funny. But sometimes it's only funny to me, and that's okay too. I think I have learned through my content creation journey that the main goal and the thing you need to be happy about is that you made the content. Don't worry about the numbers. Don't worry about the likes. Worry about making it and putting it out there. And that right there is success. Like you can't control anything else. You're controlling as much as you can by making it and putting it out there.
Yeah.
Everything else is up to the universe
it's super easy. I fall into this all the time, and it's just because I just have a personality of like, I want to be accepted. Mm-hmm. I want people to not reject me.
I get it.
But it's so easy to fall into the trap of like basing your value on the numbers that you get.
Yeah,
so easy because it's objective. It's an objective truth that happens, but it's not. I shouldn't say truth. It's not the truth because it's a viewing. It's hard numbers. You see the hard numbers. You look at your analytics, and you just like it's as a human being so easy to to put your value based on those numbers because it's like your unapproving dad. Just telling you, that's good, but you still suck. And you're like, oh, damn it, Dad.
It never changes. It doesn't matter. People have this kind of this mindset, and I'm guilty of it too, where if I could only reach this, then I'll be happy. If I can only reach this point, then all of my problems will be solved. And I'm telling you just from experience, I have been at the highest highs of TikTok. I've had my videos do millions upon millions of views. And at the end of the day, if something doesn't perform to that millions and millions of views, it's twice as bad. It feels twice as bad,
Yeah.
Like it's
a literal drug is what it is.
True. Yep. Absolutely. It is. And people need to realize that too, because I took it. It will take everything from, like, I'm telling you, you'll sit there and stare at your phone all day for 24 hours. I have gone days where I'm like, refresh, because you need that dopamine hit. I want the followers. I don't think a lot of people talk about this, but like this is an important thing. Like you need to realize that creating the content and putting it out there is all you need to worry about. And then if answering comments every once in a while is nice, but that's not but even with with my small engagement, the engagement that I do have, like it's still overwhelming. Especially on TikTok. Here's the other thing about TikTok opposed to any other platform. I don't know if you experienced this because we're kind of in different planes of existence, but like for me, what I've noticed is that my engagement is so much higher on TikTok in terms of people commenting and saying things, like saying doing the thing, interacting with the video, as opposed to any other platform. I don't know why that is, but that is. You know what? I see it. I see it kind of from different angles. So I try and post my content on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. But my shorts go to those 4 places every single time. Anything I make usually goes to those 4. For some reason, my Instagram is like the Brian Blackmore, like OGs, like my Instagram. I could post something. It could be the worst video. People are still like, good try, man.
He's trying.
It's one of those things where I see the same people comment on Instagram. I see the same I've got the squad on Instagram, the B team. Like anything I post on there seems to do well. And I don't know if it's the algorithm that Instagram has or I consider for me personally, if a video hits 10,000 views, within the day I posted it, that's for me, that's like a mark of like, okay, that was a good video. And then I let it go. I don't even like, because I have to, dude. You can't sit there and watch.
Yeah,
And
you gotta move on. You gotta move on to the next vid.
Put it out there, let it go, let the universe take it. But yeah, like I post to all of those places. TikTok, when stuff goes well, the comments are you can't manage them. There's too many. When it doesn't, I still see. It's kind of tough. I still see like decent comments on TikTok. I just truly feel like Instagram, like it shows more of my following my videos.
Yeah.
TikTok,
like that's where your
access.
Your true fans are. Like, yeah, I'm there to, I open up Instagram and I need to see Brian.
Yep. Yeah. Or like YouTube. I seem to have I seem to start, or like, have a following that's starting to be created on YouTube. And YouTube is another one where like once the algorithm picks you up, like it starts to push you out consistently to your followers. Like you have a bell on YouTube, you have a subscription option. Like you don't have that anywhere else. TikTok doesn't show you to anybody. It doesn't matter what the number says on top. If TikTok determines that this video is trash, they will throw it in the trash. Like they will literally be like, I don't care how many followers you have. It's garbage.
It is absolutely.
And the algorithm
garbage.
just determines that in 2 seconds.
Isn't it so funny? Isn't it? Because you did the band thing and did all. But isn't it so funny how back in the day we were trying so hard to please people in suits. The people in the suits making decisions. Like no, that's not going to work here at fucking Tomato Records.
Tomato. You're never going to make it out of this pissant town.
You're just trying to find that one guy in the suit. One
who
was like, we're going to push this band because they got something.
They got the spark. He's got a cigar all the time for some reason.
And he's got a ponytail.
Ponytail. Well, you're going to be somebody.
But now the same thing is happening, but it's not people in suits. It's literally robots that are dictating what is popular and what is not.
The algorithm is the tastemaker, 1,000%.
But I go back and forth. But is it the algorithm or is it the people wanting it? It's just like, is it following the literal wave of what is popular and what is not?
I think that at
like people's mindset.
At our current place, like with AI and all that kind of stuff, I think that's very probable that they are just always on what is going on in the world and just kind of constantly riding that wave. And if they see because everything starts with a spark, right? Everything starts with a little, there's a niche over here that's starting to have something really pick up engagement. There's a niche over here that's starting to grow. And you know how like it's what is it? It's the science of like just how crowds work. Like there's people who study that kind of
zeitgeist.
Stuff. Yeah, like where like
right?
you'll have something that starts to catch fire. The algorithm's going to recognize that and say, there's going to be a piece of content at the center of that, and it's built like a pyramid, where like the content is going to be created in that way. So it can look at it like, these people are making content off this, so these need to float now. This whole pyramid needs to go up. Like it's constantly up and down. I mean, I am no engineer. I want to
speak. God, I need to speak. I need to speak with someone who knows how to read algorithms. Like, tell me what is happening. What is happening? I want to know because I know nothing. Know.
All I know is that sometimes videos do well, and then sometimes they don't. And that's with anybody. So I don't even I'm at the point now where I don't feel bad about it because you see like Kuj, like Kujin, the guy on TikTok who's like, take care, brush your hair.
I don't think he's landed on my feed yet, or at least not enough where I can go, maybe if I see him, if I saw his face, I'll be like, okay, that guy.
So he is like, I would say like top tier TikToker. one of the top, like one of the tops. There's a lot of like LA TikTokers that I guess don't really come across my feed too much, but I'm not engaging with, I'm not engaging with like their content, whatever that is, celebrity or makeup or whatever, like whatever that stuff is. But even people who are at the peak of their game, Che Durena, like, like, like any of these people are now also seeing drops in views. So it's just something that I think the TikTok algorithm just rides this wave of like, okay, now your account's going to get pushed, and now your account's going to just dip, and now it's going to get pushed. And I think if you stop posting, it eventually just like rides that down.
Yeah.
This is all just theory, but I mean, you look at any of the big creators who from the past year, and you see their views now as opposed to what they were a year ago.
Yeah.
It's completely dim. Even like Tony Stadavinci, I think his name is Tony Stadavici. Dude, million views on every video, and then it just started to just see it. You can look at any of these. You can look at any of these guys, and it starts to.
You could also, man. I mean, you could also, objectively speaking, like one thing is not going to be popular forever.
It's true. It's true.
It's like absolutely. It's like
people get bored. People get bored of stuff.
Bands like Aerosmith is not as popular today as they were in '88. I mean, yeah, they're legendary.
Steven Tyler, dude, I got him tattooed.
Dude, I have a funny Steven Tyler story, actually. I can't. I'll tell it off the podcast.
Okay,
I don't want to. Because I forget. Like, oh yeah, this is going to be seen by millions of people, and I also live in a town and where he lives, so I'm like, probably not going to tell that story.
Steven Tyler's just going to stomp you out one day.
Yeah. I'm actually 1 degree away from Steven Tyler. I have a buddy. He plays for Keith Urban, and he also is a songwriter.
Oh, nice.
And like, and he writes with Steven Tyler every now.
Where are you located?
Nashville.
Oh, so you're in Nashville. Okay.
Oh yeah,
you're in like the music. Yeah, you're in like music capital.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely music capital, and it's fun, but it's a dog eat dot.
It's become like the new LA.
It really has.
People are moving to Nashville for music careers now.
Oh yeah. It's like it's great on one hand. On the other hand, it's kind of like when I first moved here back in 2005. Like, Nashville still had like this culture, and it was it was a small, big city.
Yeah.
Now there's so many people that are moving here that it's turning it into something different. Now, whether that thing is going to be great or not, that still remains to be seen. But I'm hearing from people who've lived here for like 20, plus years, they're like, I hate where this city is going now. Like, some very famous venues are being closed down, because like they're going to build a fucking shopping mall or whatever.
It's everywhere.
Yeah. And it's just that part kind of sucks because you take away sort of the, what made that city, the soul of literally the heart and soul of.
I mean, Nashville is one of the places known for having such a strong kind of essence about it, I guess you would say.
I used to be able to go to like downtown Nashville just at any, on the weekend and be totally fine. I'd be able to find a place to park and be, we just walk down the street, drinks, whatever. And now it's impossible. Impossible. You better rent a hotel room if you want to go down to downtown in the weekend. Like you're not getting out, and it's not happening. So, are
you Nashville born and raised?
No, I originally lived. I was born in Tampa Bay, Florida.
Okay,
my parents are also entertainers. My dad was an Elvis impersonator, Elvis tribute artist.
Yeah. That is dope. I mean, I'm 100% serious. I love that. Like, I think that's excellent.
I led a really cool, interesting life growing up as a kid because we would travel, I would travel during the summer, and then my mom was a teacher back home. So, when it's not.
Both my parents were teachers.
Oh, there you go. So, my mom was a math teacher. So when school was in, I'd, come back home and do whatever. But sometimes they would have shows when school was still going. And so my mom would have like the lesson plan given to her. And so my mom would teach me on the road, the lesson plan of the school, and then I'd come back and, anyway. So yeah, born in Tampa Bay, Florida, because that's where they were playing. Lived in Memphis till I was 5, because my parents, dad, Elvis tribute artist, gotta live in Memphis. And then they made the move to Las Vegas when I was 5, and I lived in Las Vegas from 5 till I was 20.
Oh, you've been all over, dude.
Yeah. I've had a lot of pretty interesting life, to say the least. And then, I moved out here in 2005. And so I'm almost lived out here longer than I've lived in Vegas, which is actually kind of crazy.
I live in Connecticut, New England.
Hey, I mean,
New England. I'm like an hour outside of the city, so that's nice. But
Connecticut, it's got places.
It's got a thing. I think Adam Sandler likes to shoot his movies here, but
we're gonna.
People always like, it's always like Connecticut. Like they use Connecticut for any backdrop that's like, oh, this is quaint. Like they're like any Nicholas Sparks thing they're turning into a movie.
Dude, I have a funny Connecticut story. Actually, I was on tour with my band, and we actually played a show that was like, there's this venue somewhere in Connecticut. I can't remember the venue's name, but it was like a dual venue. So there's one venue on the bottom and one venue on the top, or next to each other, but the same venue, but they're different. I don't know.
Was it the Space?
Maybe I can't remember.
Is it in Hamden, Connecticut? Yeah.
Yes. I think so. That rings bells. Anyway, the competing or the top level venue was Insane Clown Posse.
Oh, okay.
So it was the first time I ever experienced freaking juggalos. The first time, like, dude, it was insane. They were just all out, just like roaming around like freaking zombies, and just like all geeked out. Like it was bizarre. And
bro, you gotta go gathering of the juggalos, dude.
I never got to meet them, but like apparently the green rooms were they were merged, so both venues had the same like kind of green room space. And so I was hoping to like meet like Violent J and like, oh my god, it's fucking Insane Clown Posse, but I never got to meet him. Damn it. Maybe it was Toad's place. Maybe it was in New Haven. I can't remember. It was so long. I just remember just our Sprinter van like pulling up and just being like looking at all the juggalos outside waiting to get in.
You're like, dude, they're here for us. Finally, we've an untouched market.
We made it, man. They're drinking that Faygo for us now.
They made it. Faygo Moon. Apparently, Faygo does not mess with like the juggalos. Like they don't. Like Faygo, it doesn't have a brand deal with anyone from Insane Clown Posse. They don't do like. It's so crazy because like who else is keeping Faygo in business? I know
exactly. Like it was like what would be like sad. You okay? Let's say that you're a small business owner, okay, and you have this wonderful idea to make this awesome new drink that no one else has ever done. You spend your entire life getting this brilliant drink, and you finally, after so much turmoil and determination, that you finally get it on shelves.
Yeah.
And then you're so happy that you finally made it, and then all of a sudden the Insane Clown Posse's crowd has now named your drink their drink.
The official drink of the Insane Clown Posse. Faygo Moon Mist is the number one flavor. Dude, I don't know. You know what? Faygo should be plastered on every one of the members of the Insane Clown Posse. And also, 2 people is not really a posse. But Violent J and Shaggy 2 dope. I don't know. Faygo needs to realize, dude, the brand people at Faygo, they're like, this is Faygo, an upscale family establishment. Like they're in their board meeting. The guy with the suit is in the board meeting, just like, absolutely not. This is Faygo.
This is a Faygo.
This is a classy beverage. He's drinking it out of a champagne flute.
We're only at Trader Joe's and Whole Foods, damn it.
Right next to the $2 Chuck.
But yeah, man. Or like, I wonder what the guy. I mean, I guess Affliction would be a close.
Yeah.
Like some guys like, oh, this is cool. This is like Ed Hardy. Ed Hardy is like, oh, we got this cool brand. It's kind of dark and really cool. And then all of a sudden, douchebags start wearing it, and you're like, damn it.
Christian Audigier buys all of the Ed Hardy, makes traditional tattoos. Yeah, just like.
But then they leaned into it. They leaned into it. All right.
Yeah.
We'll just.
It's gonna come back, dude. I'm telling you, Ed Hardy's coming back at some point. People are gonna be rocking full like snake up the leg, like Well, dude, that stuff.
Do you see Tiger King?
Yes.
Whatever that fucking dude is, it's like he wears Ed Hardy every day, no matter if he's doing farm work. He is in that.
You know what? If you just showed me a picture of that dude and asked me what clothes you thought he would wear, I would say Ed Hardy 1,000%, because that and just leopard print all the time.
Like, he's riding tractors in black and jeans and freaking a hat and a do-rag and everything. I'm like, bro.
Damn old Carol Baskins, man. Carol Baskins. You did it.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was my Insane Clown Posse story.
Great.
Connecticut story.
Great. Hey, man, like, you've been here. It's funny because it's not really like, I don't have any creator friends. I don't really have any friends who are big creators. Like, I don't, in Connecticut, it's pretty rare for anyone to go into entertainment. It's just not, you're next to the city. So if you want to go to the city, you can do that. And like, comedy is really big there. But yeah, like it's kind of like, it's not like a Nashville or like an LA, where there's a lot of creators that you can bounce stuff off of. So I love doing stuff like this where I get to talk to.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's why I wanted to, like, I stopped doing the podcast because a bunch of shit happened and I had to like take a pause off of content creation. Like my car's being stolen. Both cars being stolen. And then my wife had surgery. And so it was a fucking crazy year. 2022 sucked. But I started bringing back the podcast. The one thing, like, the podcast was one of the things that was one of my first pieces of content that I wanted to put on YouTube, because like over the years I've met so many really cool, interesting people, like just musicians, artists, like singers, and now like I'm turning it into like a place where I can meet new content creators and just tell me about their story and like how they got to where they were. And it's just like I'm so and also bounce ideas off of eventually. It's like it's just because like you just get inspired by people's story and path and journey. I think just doing stuff like this, just like talking and just it's such a good way to have an understanding, because even out here in Nashville, like I don't really I would talk to people about music, sure, that's fine, but like I was never really a music nerd. Like I like playing music and I love music, but I never know everything about theory and everything like that. So like to the podcast being a venue where I can speak to people who are into music and video games and like, oh, this is a similar path that I took, that's that's why I brought back.
No, I love it. And I don't think, wherever my content creation journey takes me and wherever music takes me, I am always like, I always tell everyone, I'm very open to talk to anybody. If you see me out and you want to talk to me, like I am definitely someone who is very open to that.
So when you do go out, do you don the manager outfit?
So I did for one con. I actually like wore the whole manager outfit. I wore the whole thing, and I was walking around, and people were loving it, dude. Like
were you just like walking
so
around
many
with
pictures, pictures and all that kind of stuff. I'm amazed that people see me and go, "Oh my God, you're the guy. You're that guy." Like I was just at a con 2 weekends ago. Someone came up to my table, and they go, "You're the only reason I'm here." I work for. Said he worked for United Airlines or something. He's like, I'm just here for the weekend. And I was looking at what's going on. And I saw that you were at this con. That's the only reason I'm here. And I'm like, thank you, dude. But that's so weird. Cool. Like, me? Really?
Yeah. Is it like, is it like, I mean, you just said it, but like, what does that feel like? Where you're just like, you're just being recognized out in the public and be like, thank you. Like, what do people usually say when they come up to you? You're like,
I think my motto and something that I've always lived by is if I can make one person smile, if I can make one person happy for just a couple of minutes, like I've fulfilled my purpose here, and that's been the thing that's been behind all of my content and behind all of anything I do since I started making stuff. So if someone comes up to me and I make them smile, or we have a conversation or whatever, and they leave feeling good because they met me, then I feel like I fulfilled my purpose, dude. It's really tough to explain, But I'm happy that I've impacted people's lives in that way.
Yeah, dude. I mean, and you have
Yeah.
you definitely should be proud, just because like, again, like the content is just it's simple and funny and it's like you don't take yourself too seriously, and it's
Hmm.
just like you're following your passions, and people love shit like that. You
I
know, like
do
I
think
love
I
shit
do
like
think
that.
that like yeah, I do think that some people think that like the whole like the goofy characters and everything is like really serious, because there are people who will like comment like, no, like that's not how you play that, or
I
like that's, and it's like,
let's go down this road. Let's go down this road. This is
dude,
actually
yeah.
so okay. Because you've reached a certain stature, so
Mhm.
you're getting comments and you're getting engagement and all this other stuff. Like, has there been any negative? Do you even like do you do your best to ignore it? Like any sort of negative? Is there a negative comment and you're like, what why what?
I think that everyone, if you're on the internet for long enough, you're going to get negative comments, right?
Of
You're going to
course.
get, like, people are going to comment stuff. Obviously, being more in the public, having my stuff seen a lot more, having my stuff shared on websites and all that kind of stuff, like, there's going to be twice the amount of that. I try to live by, like, don't feed the trolls. There's so many accounts that like will leave a comment, but there's no one behind the account, right?
Right.
There's no, like, it's a blank, it's
Cowards.
a spam account, it's a troll
Cowards.
account.
Yeah.
And I'm not a very aggressive person. I'm not someone who is going to get super angry and bent out of shape about stuff. Um, but for the most part, like I think that any creator, when you read negative comments, they hit you more than positive comments,
Oh
right?
yeah.
You could have
Oh
a
yeah.
thousand positive comments, and one person's like, "You suck," and you're like, "Oh man, I do, I do, I do. I'm
Well,
ass."
you know what? Well, especially for I think the reason for that is not number one because you're an artist, and
Mhm.
artists want to be seen and want to be accepted and not rejected, because the rejection hurts us more because we
Yeah.
put so much work into art,
Yep.
and we are trying to show the world like how unique we are, and how like, hey, this is what makes me special. Like
Mhm.
here, this is my it's
I made
similar.
it truly is always, I made this for you. It's
Yeah,
always like,
yeah.
I made this for you. And then, like, you'll have the people who are like, "Oh, like, thank you." You'll have the people who really love it,
Yeah.
and you'll have the people who are like, "That's garbage," and slap it out of your hand. And then you're like,
Yeah.
"Ah."
And evolutionarily speaking, if you want to get super deep about it, like I feel like we concentrate on negative things and it hits us harder more, just
Mhm.
for basically like for throughout our evolution, we've trained ourselves to be super noticeable about danger and
Mhm.
things that are
Yeah.
negative, that could negatively impact our lives, so we can protect ourselves in the future. So that's why when you see like a negative post and they tell you like, or tell me like, oh, you didn't play the breakbeat correctly, I'm like, oh fuck, I didn't play the
Yeah.
breakbeat
Yeah.
correctly, damn it, I didn't. And it's like, shit. But because those are voices that you tell yourself, and you fight every single day, at least for me. I fight every single day against that motherfucker in my
Yeah.
brain.
Yeah.
That's like, you can't do this. You're nothing.
All of
But
all of
stop
us
it.
do. And every single time you submit a song to a label, every single time you've worked really hard on, I produce a lot of music. I have a lot of music that I'm sitting on that I would love, like a label to pick up, or someone to take a look at, and push that out there, because ideally what I'd like to do is take these mashups and stuff out, but I'd also like to have my originals.
Yeah.
And I've sent stuff to labels for years, all the time. They're probably like, "Oh, Brian Blackmore, put it in the folder." Like, there's so much stuff. Um, but yeah, like all of that stuff, anytime you make something and you put it out there and it just goes either unnoticed, or it just goes like, "Oh, this is not what we're looking for." Even that kind of stuff is like, "Oh, that's like, oh, that sucks. Oh, this is not worth the time I put into it."
Yeah.
And no one should ever think that. No one should ever think that way. Like, it's worth it to you.
Yeah.
Put it out
I
there.
think,
Like,
I think
But any creative you talk to is going to say the exact same thing. The voice in your head is always the loudest and is always the one that is the most against you.
Yeah, and it's because you are so close to your own material.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's just like a song that you're working on. I'm sure you've done this where you're working on a song, and you're focused on this one tiny little part. You know, this one tiny little part that just
doing that the other day. Yeah,
no one else would know.
No one. Dude,
no one else would know or care.
If I could just, give the cue, just a little bit. The band, I could just make it. Like,
dude, I saw a meme years ago that was just like, yep, this is true. Like, there's a skeleton by a mixing board or whatever, and the title is "Almost Got the Mix Right," and he's just a dead skeleton.
There's no such
mix is almost there.
That is the other thing. I see a lot of, I'm sure you get them too on TikTok. There's a lot of like tutorials, a lot of producers who are just like, oh, I know all production.
I know everything.
You compress this way. You set the threshold here. You set the attack here. You know, like, and it's like, none of this is true. Like all this, there's no right way to do anything. As long as you're not clipping, like, as
long as you're not in the red and the compression. As long as
you're not in the red
all the way up.
I mean, even you know what they say, if you're not redlining, you're not headlining. So maybe put it in the red. You know.
That's definitely a manager. That's definitely a manager saying, it's just the band is all like hanging out. It's like, hey, if you're not redlining, you're not
blowing the speakers, dude. Get off my stage, all right? Yeah.
Did your band actually did you all have a manager at one point?
We were mostly self-managed. We had a tour manager, who was honestly, he was a great guy. He lives in like South Carolina now. We had a couple different people, but a lot of it was very DIY. It was all like, do you know, you were on Warped Tour, you know, Shut Up and Deal?
Shut Up and Deal. It sounds familiar, but I don't, nothing.
They're kind of from around this area. They played a big leg of it. It's just like, you know, like we had mutual connects, that kind of got us to Kevin, and just kind of were like, okay, we're gonna talk to Kevin. I think we won the Battle of the Bands one year. I think we won the Ernie Ball thing.
Battle of the Bands.
Yeah.
Damn.
All that kind of stuff.
That's
like we won
memories.
that. Which is, dude, when you think of it, when you think of all of the bands in that like just in the East Coast area, and to win that was like a big deal. Like we were like, oh, amazing. Dude. We're like, yeah.
But like, how nerve-wracking was Battle of the Bands anytime, even like the smaller ones, even like the smaller, like, you know,
that's such a, I feel like that's just such a nonsense. Like Battle of the Bands it's always like three judges who are just like, well, you know, like what I'd like to hear. I had a judge once for one of the Battle of Bands be like, I didn't hear anyone shout out the merch table. And, you know, that's really important when you're on tour. You're gonna deduct.
You're gonna deduct points off of that. It's always like three people who are just, they never did anything, but they're just like, I got nothing else to do.
Also, we're just playing out of amps, dude. There's no mix. No mixing any of this.
Like, there's actually no sound engineer.
There's no engineer. This PA is broken. One of the speakers is blown. Like,
our drummer's playing with one cymbal and a snare, and that's it.
Yeah, they're like expected you to do it. Like, you know, I'm a kid too. Like, I can't afford good equipment.
Well, the reason why I asked about like if you had a manager, I was like wondering what like inspiration for the character. Like, did you? It was just like, because it is kind of like the generic kind of stereotypical manager, but it's just funny how that's how all managers are stereotyped. Our manager wasn't like, first of all, our manager was a woman, and our first manager was a drug addict, and then like
that's so happens so often. And we had like a booking guy for a while that was just like, you're like, yo, where'd all this money go? Like, dude, I don't know, bro. They never pay, dude.
I don't know, man.
You said they paid it. They said they paid. Yeah. Yeah. So I think that character, like, you know, me and my friends always kind of throw that character around is just like something that was always like, you're gonna be a big star one day, you know, you're gonna make it. Or like, you're never gonna make, you know, like, you just always do that. And it just kind of came from that.
Managers, like in my experience, managers were never really like that, but like executives were, like
Yes.
people who are like working in the building, and like
yeah. I mean, managers. I think at the end of the day, most managers want what's best for you. They want you to make money so they can make money, right? That's really important. But I think that it just kind of gets mixed up with the whole like the whole Hollywood like agent thing too, where it's like, there are people like that everywhere. I don't think it's the best way to be in business, is to be like, you're shit, you're garbage, kid. Or like any of that.
Let me tell you about a time. I was managing friggin' Smashing Pumpkins here.
Jimmy and the Four Salamis. They were huge. They were a huge act. Like it's just it's just one of those characters that just comes out, and everyone connects with it. Everyone's like, that's a manager.
Because we've all met like a person in like an authority kind of figure way like that.
Or you've had someone at work who was just absolutely horrible, and I've had enough of that. That's probably more where the character came from. It's enough people at work who are like, yeah, shut up. Anyways, like
yeah, like people who just take their jobs way too seriously, just like, and they just don't get it. It's
empathy, dude. Empathy, kindness it's so important in any of the like the industries that you or I are in. There's no need. Like, everyone is trying to do the exact same thing, right? At the end of the day, every single person wants to get their name out there. They want to perform. They want to, whatever they want to do. They want to get their songs released. There's no, there's no reason for people to be like, oh, this is like, you suck and this is ass.
Yeah.
Like, leading with kindness is.
People were jealous.
It's so important. Even I have companies reach out. I have brand deals that reach out that now I thankfully will have a management team handling, which I was psyched about, because managing brand deals all day is kind of a nightmare. But even on the ones that I don't want to work with, or the ones that I don't want to like, I'm like, okay, you obviously didn't take a look at like my profile. You're just reaching out because I have a following. Like,
just looking at the numbers.
I always respond. I'm always like, hey, thank you for reaching out. I'm not interested at this time in supporting your creatine supplement. If I said I took your creatine supplement, I don't think anyone would buy it, because they'd be like, this guy took it. Look at him. Like, it doesn't work.
Did a creatine supplement really reach out to you? Please tell me. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's a true story.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, like, dude, like I get like a couple weightlifting or fitness brands, and they'll open with stuff like, we love your dedication to fitness, and I'm like, guys, come on, like, you're not even trying. You're not even trying.
This is a mass email. This is a
mass email you're sending to all the influencers, and like, hopefully you get some.
Yeah.
Those are all like, we'll send you a couple of our products, and it's like, that's dude, it.
You should totally do it. You should just do it.
Just like bust through a wall. I fucking love creatine. That'd be funny, actually.
And you get paid. And
I just take all the worst brand deals,
and then just make a small TikTok video, just a small one, like, hey guys, by the way, I'm about to do this commercial. Don't tell them.
So yeah.
So your audience will know, that you're,
that's kind of always the thing with like when you post those too. It's always kind of challenging to like balance brand deals and that sort of thing, because people know when they're being sold something. You know immediately. You watch a million YouTube videos, all the time when someone's like, oh, and you know what I love? These sunglasses. There's nothing like them. They, NordVPN or Raid Shadow Legends or whatever. Like, Dude,
like, if I hear another Raid Shadow Legends, like, look, I get it. I'm a gamer. I love video games, but stop it.
I'm not going to play this one.
I'm not going to. I'm not.
Watch me next week. Me next week is like, wow, I love Raid Shadow Legends. This game is so fun.
But hey,
yeah. So
I would totally let them be a sponsor, though. Totally.
Yeah. I mean, they're great. They're great. I love them. I love them so much. So
I can't put it down.
Can't put it down. In fact, if you check out my level 17 skeleton right now, yeah. So it's just it's one of those things where like always leading with kindness, always making sure that like, hey, thank you for reaching out, thank you for whatever. Even stuff like this. Like I talk to just about anybody who wants to talk to me, unless it's those one-off reach outs that are mad weird, that are like, yo, I love your feet, bro. Like, let me just, can I?
We have a foot podcast.
Yeah.
We like to talk about feet.
Yeah, come on.
And when you come on,
just put the camera at your feet and then grab the microphone.
Yeah, that's it.
But yeah, like I talk to mostly everybody, and I'm open to collaborating with just about anybody, because I think,
hey man, I just want to, like, that really meant a lot to me that you and like accepting the invitation to collab on Instagram. Like that really meant, because like my stuff on Instagram just does nothing, and so like I'm starting to like just, I didn't realize that there was a collaboration option until someone told me that. And I was like, oh, that's, people can like show your video to their crowd. I'm like, oh, okay, that's really freaking cool.
Yeah, that I mean, that's awesome. Like that's the stuff that, like, if you put together something really cool that was really just like the drum cover with the song and everything, I was like, that's sick. Like that's really awesome.
Thanks.
You put time into that. And that's the other thing, is that like you putting time into that, right? Like you're like, oh, I love this mashup. Let me make a drum cover.
It was like I loved it. Like I absolutely, and I love, because like I'm, honestly, thanks to TikTok, like I'm meeting so many people that have similar interests than me. I never really got that with any other platform except for TikTok. And I'm like, I'm meeting all these really cool people, and I'm getting inspired by the stuff that they're creating. And, it used to be me playing over stuff that I've already been inspired by, like video game music and whatnot, which I still do. But like now I'm getting inspired by, I just released another cover with this guy, this guitar player named O.L. Drake. Fantastic guitar player. Does like metal riffs of like, it was like DuckTales theme I just did. It was like a DuckTales moon theme guitar riff. And
yep. The moon level. Yeah,
dude.
I saw you did one with Dream Kid too.
Oh, dude.
Dream Kid is incredible.
That freaking remix like was my life for like all week. I was just listening to that small little bit over and over again. It's like, this is amazing. It's incredible. So I'm hoping Dream Kid will see it and collab. So like, hey, throw me about a little bit.
Synthwave, once again, that's synthwave stuff.
Dude, I love me some synthwave, man. I love it every time I hear it. And I think my love for that kind of music was, I draw it back. I don't know if you've ever watched the movie The Kickboxer with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yes, I think I have. Yeah.
There's this training scene, and the composer, it's like a synth, it's synth fight wave, but it wasn't synth wave at the time. It was just regular music.
Yeah.
Because it was the 80s. And they just rediscovered synths and echo and reverb. But like, I remember specifically that the music in that, like the synth, the parts, the chord progression. And now that synthwave is like becoming like popular, I'm like, oh man, it's just like that nostalgia keeps hitting. Like,
it makes you feel
training
good, dude.
Training montage.
Put that stuff on, like, listen to any of those bands. It's good. Like,
one of my favorites is Dancing with the Dead.
Yes. Yep.
Dude.
Yeah, or like Gunship.
Oh, Gunship's great too.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yep. Just nerd out about synthwave all day.
But hey, man, sure. I gotta get out of here. But I really do appreciate you coming on, man. It's such a pleasure to meet you and talk about your content journey and just your content in general, and just you in general. It's just it's such a pleasure to meet you. And
Shane, thanks for having me on. It's
I really appreciate it. Is there anything you'd like to plug? I mean, I'm pretty sure people already know where to find your stuff anyway, but if there's anything in particular, if you're playing out somewhere or whatever.
I mean, tell your local whatever shows, concerts, whatever that you want to see me on there. And then my Aquatic Ruin Zone remix is on Spotify right now. So if you like that, go listen to it. And there's also a bunch of other remixes on YouTube that you can listen to, but that's about it.
Yeah. Brian Blackmore, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, go follow and all that. Just follow and like everything. Just do it. Don't even know.
Smash that MF follow button.
All right. Thanks everybody for watching. Please like and subscribe and follow and do all that other stuff to my channel as well. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, do that. Follow Shane's channel. Follow all Shane's stuff.
Follow. All right. See y'all later.